Good morning. Been going now for probably an hour or so, but the first bit was just clearing off the slab, which I feel like that's gonna get pretty boring as the winter goes on because it's gonna be a daily thing. So anyway, I shoveled the slab. Y'all know what that looks like. And then what I'm gonna do right now to start off the day is the dormer that's standing right behind me, which is gonna be a bedroom. I'm gonna frame that together today, try to get it standing. The plans aren't perfectly clear as to how that happens, but what I have laid out here on the slab is all of the lumber that goes on the actual wall that gets stood up. Supporting that wall that gets stood up is a bunch of just, it looks like a bunch of 2x4s that just get tied into the side of the truss. And so I'm gonna spend some time with the plans, see if I can't figure out exactly how that goes together. One thing that's, it's not concerning, but it's something I might have to do first, is that I haven't actually bolted down any of the knee walls yet. They're bolted down on like the end of the truss, but the actual knee wall right there doesn't have a bolt in it yet. And I'm not sure how it all gets tied together, if I might need to just bolt down those two trusses alone. So anyway, I'm going to frame up this one wall. I think that because my worry is that I'm going to frame it here, I'm not going to be able to have enough room to stand it up. But from there, it slopes down the roof pitch for the dormer. So I'm hoping that I can build it here on the slab, stand it up, slide it over there, and get it temporarily braced. That's my hope. I'm gonna see if I can get the wall put together before lunchtime. And man, it's gonna be another one of those days where everything is gonna get completely covered in snow, which I'm not complaining about, but it does make things a little bit more complicated, though beautiful at the same time. So why don't you enjoy the snowfall in the background while I work on framing this wall. Well, the cold got to the camera while I was framing up the dormer before lunch, and it died. So anyway, you got the gist of how it goes together. It's all screws. I'm sure in some ways it's a bit slower, that's for sure, than using like an air nailer. And I also know that screws don't have the same shear strength as nails do, which is why nails are oftentimes used in standard construction. But this is the hardware that came with the kit, and we're trusting that the kit has been properly engineered. So anyway, it's heavy. It's on the ground right there. Before I left for lunch, I was able to lift it up on one side, and I thought, man, I could probably push this up on its side. I can maybe slide it out there. I'm gonna see if there's a chance that I might be able to stand this up by myself right now. And if I can't, that's fine. I'll put it back down, and I'll just wait until there's someone here to give me a hand. But I'm gonna give this a shot, see if I can't get this stood up and braced so that I can then finish the installation. That dormer got started. I'm gonna come and I just put in temporary bracing for now, or a few days ago. But now I'm gonna come in, I'm actually gonna properly brace that so that that dormer is actually done. That's my goal for the end of today. So enjoy. I've got all the lumber. This was the one section that I didn't have fully sorted out. So the pile it's not as organized, so it is gonna take me a little while to find the proper pieces. But once I find everything, hopefully it's just a matter of measuring where it all goes and putting a few screws in. Hopefully. Everything's ice. We got freezing rain last night. So there's literally just like icicles hanging from everything. And the entire slab is just a sheet of ice. So moving slowly, but gonna get back to work.
Is that fun? Is Benji mashing it?
Hi, please be super careful. I saw your foot get stuck in the ratchet strap.
My hands are like ice cold, even though today's not like, it's not super cold, but like -8 or something.
Yeah.
But because everything has ice and snow on it, I touch it, it melts, and then my gloves get wet, and now like my hands are just perpetually cold. I can go get a new pair of gloves, but the first thing I pick up is gonna freeze, and then you pick up, you know, your hammer or drill, and it's cold. It's just the toughest part so far. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna get started on is on the dormer right here. There's just a 2x4 on the left and the right side that just need to get tacked on. And so I'm gonna put a piece of sill gasket on the bottom after I clear off all the snow and ice that's down there, attach some sill gasket to the bottom of that 2x4, and then just drill in a handful of screws. And then that dormer is basically ready for the house wrap and strapping to go on it. That feels good. So that is the first part of the house that is if I had a checklist, I could check off bedroom dormer, because that dormer is now ready for the for the house wrap. We are getting started right now. Just got out here and we're scraping off all of the ice that's accumulated on the slab, because before we move on with the last 2 trusses getting raised at the end of the building, while I have my friend Daniel here, we're gonna lift up this dormer wall that's sitting on the slab here and get it over there, because I will not be able to do that on my own. It's slightly larger than this other dormer wall that we put up, and so while I have the help here, I want to do that. So we're basically prepped. We're just gonna get it standing there and get it temporarily braced, and then I'll come back later and build the 2 side walls that will actually hold it where it's meant to go. But that's what we're getting started with today. That'll probably take us, I'm assuming, till lunch, and then after that we're gonna get the rest of these trusses standing, get as much bracing done as we can before we call it a day. Anyway, that's what we're doing today. Hope you enjoy the time lapse. So what we started off by doing first was clearing off the actual wall that had been pre-assembled. I had a buddy over a few days prior and he actually put this wall together. We were shoveling out all the snow and getting the telehandler all warmed up so that we could use it to move the wall to the other side of the building. And so to move that wall, what we ended up getting was one of our ratchet straps, put it around the wall and around the telehandler. We did this to prevent it from slipping off the end of the forks, and it made it so easy to move that wall to where the front entry dormer is located on the house. Okay, so this wall is proven to be a bigger challenge than I thought it was going to be. It's like, I think there's 2 extra 8-foot 2x10s, and those 2 extra boards make it changes from like difficult to like really difficult. Like, it's crazy. So we have it on top of the dormer now, and what I think we're gonna try to do now, pull it back a little bit because it's close to hitting our drainage stack for our laundry machine. We also have our conduit for our electrical coming out that runs all the way to our solar shed. So there's a few different components there that I'm really wanting to be careful about. But I think what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to use the telehandler to actually lift it up. I'm gonna put a strap around the beam of the dormer to the top of the wall, as well as around the one fork of the telehandler to the top. Hopefully we'll be able to lift it straight up into the air and have it dangling and almost use the telehandler like a crane, and then get it close to the edge and then slowly lower it down, brace it, and then move on from there. But this is proving to be more difficult than I thought it was going to be. And so we turned to our trusty ratchet straps and got ready to lift this wall up into the air using the telehandler. Using one ratchet strap around the beam to make sure that the wall, once we lift it up, to make sure the wall wouldn't be able to fall away from the building and onto our driveway. I wasn't too worried about it falling toward the house. More so I just didn't want it to fall all the way down and away from the wall, because that would just been difficult for us to pick up. We then slowly started to try to position the telehandler in such a way that we could actually lift it up and then have the wall dangling above where it was going to eventually rest. There was a lot of rearranging, maneuvering, and thinking and talking out loud to try to figure out how exactly we were going to lift this wall up. At this point, we realized that the wall was able to be slid, but we still couldn't lift it up all the way. And so higher and higher we went with the wall, trying to slide the wall closer and closer to the edge where it was eventually going to rest. By now the wall was dangling and it was easy enough to just pivot and maneuver it around. And so with the telehandler, we positioned it up in the air, got the sill gasket so that we could protect the lumber up against the concrete slab, stapled it all into place. Now, it's my friend Daniel's turn to try to guide that wall to where it's gonna rest on the house. By this point, the wall was close enough to where it was going to rest, and we knew that we could just slide it to where it was going to land. Now it's just a matter of bracing it, making sure that it was plumb so that we could actually remove all the ratchet straps and move the telehandler out of the way. We had already put a mark on the slab so we knew where the wall was supposed to rest. And once it was sitting plumb, that was where we braced it, and it was time to move on with the rest of the dormer. All right, that's a big wall. We did it! Man, that I was saying to Daniel, I'm really thankful that we chose to put this on rather than the other trusses, because Katie and I can tackle that with no problem with the telehandler. Like, it's actually, those are gonna be easy now. This, on the other hand, man, there was a few sketchy moments there. But hey, it's tacked in place now, it's level, it's plumb, it's all those good things. And we're freezing, it's really damp today. There's snowing and freezing rain a bit, so our hands are just ice. So we're gonna head to the house, grab some lunch, come back up here. And I think at this point, I think Daniel and I, we might try to tackle some of the trusses, or we might finish the dormer. I'm not sure, we'll talk about it over some soup and a sandwich. What do you think, Toby? What do you think? Huh? Oh, yeah.